A very good morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Varun Narayan Misra, and today I am going to discuss the remaining part of the yesterday's lecture. Yesterday we have discussed different meteorological parameters responsible for the transportation of air pollutants, how air pollutants or air pollution is transferred or transmitted from one place to another place, and what are the causes and what are the consequences of such transportation, and which meteorological parameters are responsible for such type of transportation of air pollutants. Today we will see the remaining part of the yesterday's lecture, and yesterday we have discussed three types of conditions, like we can dispersion, stability, and transportation. So today we will see about the atmospheric stability, in which condition you can say that the condition in the atmosphere is stable. The atmospheric stability is directly affects the dispersion of the pollutants, and it is dependent on the temperature elevation relationship. As we know that with increasing elevation there is a uh, decrease in the temperature. There is a relationship between the elevation and the temperature. So this kind of relationship between temperature and elevation is responsible for the atmospheric stability. When we talk about atmospheric stability, it means there should be very little vertical mixing. All the pollutants which is emitted near surface tend to stay there, and environmental lapse rate is same as the dry adiabatic lapse rate. Okay, so in if there are three conditions, there are little vertical mixing, pollutants emitted near surface tend to stay there, and if environmental lapse rate is same as the dry abatic lapse rate. So if these three conditions are fulfilled, then we can say that our atmosphere is stable. It will be considered as the atmospheric stability. So there are four common scenarios for atmospheric stability. First one is the neutral condition. In neutral condition, the environmental lapse rate is same as the dry adiabatic lapse rate. In this condition, in the neutral condition, a parcel of air carried up or down will have the same temperature as the environmental at the new height. Okay, so in neutral means there is no change in the temperature. Either we go upward and downward. That is because of the same lapse rate, same environmental lapse rate as the dry adiabatic lapse rate. So there is no tendency for the further movement of atmospheric pollutants. In the neutral condition, the atmospheric pollutants or different kinds of air pollutants will not move further. There is no further movement for such kind of atmospheric pollutants. This is the neutral condition. There is no change in the temperature, either we go upward or downward. Okay, then second one is the super adiabatic condition. It's very unstable condition in which the environmental lapse rate is always greater than the constant of that is, you can say, the global lapse rate. That is, the actual temperature gradient is more negative. There are some small parcel of the air which is displaced, approximately the adiabatic expansion. The heat transfer is very slow in comparison to the vertical movement, and in this unstable condition, the temperature of the parcel is greater than the temperature of its surrounding area. Okay, if there is a parcel of air, there is a air parcel. So at a given point, the temperature of a air parcel or air column will always be greater than the temperature of its surrounding area. Okay, and in this condition, parcel continues upward. There is a upward movement of air pollutants in this unstable condition. If there is a stable condition, so obviously if there is a stable condition, so in that case the environmental lapse rate should be less than the global constant value, that is tau. Okay, in that case no tendency for further vertical movement due to the temperature differences, and any parcel of air will return to its original position in case of stable position, in case of stable environmental condition, and parcel is colder than the air above and moves back. So in stable condition, there is no tendency for the further movement. If it is stable, it means there is no movement. There is no movement because there is no temperature differences. So there will be movement only in case of the differences in the temperature. But if there is no difference in the temperature, condition is stable, environmental or pollutants level of the pollutants are stable, so air pollution cannot move further. There is no vertical movement, and in that case any parcel of air will return to its original position, and the air parcel is colder than the air above. Inversion condition, in this is fourth scenario. Okay, in this inversion condition the atmospheric condition or air pollutants are strongly stable. Okay, in this case the lapse rate will be considered as negative, and the temperature increases with the increasing height, the height of the atmospheric layers. There is no tendency for further vertical movement due to the temperature differences, and in a strongly stable condition the air parcel will return to its original position, and parcel is colder than air above, or it may be moved back. There is a concentrates pollutant level. So in the strongly stable condition, if the atmospheric pollutants are strongly stable or atmosphere is strongly stable, so there may be the possibility of the higher concentration of the pollutants. Okay, because there is no movement, environmental condition is stable, so all the pollutants, or you can say different air pollutants, will be concentrated over the area, and this will lead to the higher concentration level in that area. So now we are going to discuss what is inversion. Inversion means the stability, that is exchange of the wind energy between air layer near the ground and the high altitude winds. Okay, how the wind energy is exchanged between the layer near to the earth surface and the higher altitude wind. There are two kinds of dispersion. There are two kinds of dispersion processes in the inversion, that is horizontal and vertical, and this inversion is influenced by the time of year. In some time of the year there may be the high inversion rate. Topography is having important role in the inversion, the presence of the water or lakes, the time of the day. These are the four factors that strongly affects the inversion process. And inversion means how the wind energy is moving near to the layer of the ground or the earth and the higher altitude winds, and it may be done in two directions. Either it will be in the horizontal direction or the vertical direction. Okay, so this is the photograph, this is the image. This is showing the image, that is pollutants are carried out from the ocean through the mountain passes on the almost daily basis during the summer months. Okay, so this is the photograph, or you can say the satellite image of the San Francisco Bay Area. So in this you can see there is a different topographical condition is very different in comparison to the plain area. So the pollutants are carried out from the ocean through the mountains, and it can pass through an almost daily basis during the summer months. Then there is another condition, the streams of the air carrying the Bay Area emission mixed with the locally generated pollution from the automobile traffic, small engine exhaust, industry and agriculture in the valley. Okay, so these are some of the photographs, how the topographical change, how the topographic variation affects the movement of the air pollutants, or it affects the inversion process. So in a case of warm inversion, the layer acts like a blanket on the smog layer. So you can see it's a kind of smog condition. It prevents the dissipating the higher in the atmosphere. Because of high pressure, the Central Valley regularly experience these thermal inversion, and the valley, which is nearly at sea level, often feels at night with the cool heavy air. So the cool air layer grows through the night, reaching up to the 3000 feet thick layer. So there are two kinds of inversion: radiative inversion and subsidence inversion. Radiative means if the surface layers of the earth, or you can say the layer near to the earth surface, receives the heat by the conduction process, convection process, or it may be the solar radiation, it may be different kinds of electromagnetic radiation from the earth surface. And in subsidence inversion, the cloud layer, the clouds can absorb the incoming solar radiation or high pressure region with slow net downward flow or air and light wind. The shrinking air masses increases in the temperature and becomes warmer than the air below it. Usually, the subsidence inversion process occurs at the height of 1500 to 15,000 feet above the ground, and it commonly happens in the sunny condition. It commonly happen in the daytime with low wind speed, because in subsidence inversion clouds are absorbing the incoming solar radiation. So it always happens during the daytime in the clear weather. In case of clear weather, there is a sunny day. So this is the essential condition for the subsidence inversion. Then there are another types of inversion: cold air flowing under the nighttime flow of the cold air valley. It can be having the it can be done in the winter season, and the presence of this fog blocks the sun and the inversion persists. And it generally happens over the sea or the lake. Freeze also bring the cold air under the warm air. And second type of inversion is warm air flowing over, same as above, but warm air flows over the cold, trapping it, and the warm air frequently overrides the colder more than the denser air. So these are the classes of stability. When we talk about the atmospheric stability, when we talk about the stability of our environmental condition, so these are some of the classes which have been classified on the basis of the stability condition. If A is representing strongly unstable condition, B is representing moderately unstable condition, C is representing slightly unstable condition, D is neutral, E is slightly stable condition, and F is the moderately stable condition. So the stability condition may be represented by different letters, different words, A, B, C, D, E, F, and each word having different meaning. If we have written A, it means it's strongly unstable. If we have written D, it means it's neutral condition. So these classification criteria, these classification is done for the accurate measurement or for representing the stability condition by some word. Okay, so this is the table showing how this classification of stability can be measured, can be done in the form of table. And you can see in the daytime, when there is incoming solar radiation, so there may be different kinds of stability condition. In the night time, without the sun or without the solar radiation, it may be different kinds of stability. So here the words A, B, C, D are representing different kinds of stability classes, different classes of this stability. And you can see the wind speed is also having important role in the stability conditions. In case of less wind speed, there may be instability, and in case of you can say the wind speed greater than 6 miles per second, there may be C kind of strong ability, C kind of stability. Wind velocity profile is very important. It's a kind of friction that is retards wind movement. The friction is proportional to the surface roughness, and it's location specific. Each and every location may have different wind velocity. Different wind velocity profiles can be found over different locations. It also depends on the size of different earth surface features, earth surface objects, that may produce different wind velocity gradients in the vertical direction. And in the area of the atmosphere that is influenced by the friction, if there is a wind, so there may be the friction in the environment. The atmospheric particles or the gases present in the atmosphere, there may be friction. These frictions strongly affect the wind velocity. This is a planetary boundary layer and few hundreds meter to the several kilometer above the earth surface. And the depth of the boundary layer is greater than the unstable than stable condition. So wind velocity is very important. It's having very important role in the atmospheric stability, and if it is having very less friction, then it will have negative. It will have less effect on the atmospheric stability. If the wind velocity is very high, it will having the high effect on the atmospheric stability. Wind speed varies by the height, as we know that at different heights, or you can say at different layers of the atmosphere, we may have different kinds of wind speed. Okay, and the international standard height for wind speed measurement is 10 meter, and it's a dispersion of the pollutant, that is a function of the wind speed at the height where the pollution is emitted. But it is very difficult to develop the relationship between height and the wind speed. This is the formula for calculating the wind speed, or you can say this is a formula for the law of Decon. U upon U1 is equal to Z upon Z1P, where U is the wind speed at the elevation Z, Z is the elevation value, and P is the exponent that is based on the terrain and surface cover and stability characteristics. So this table is showing the wind velocity profile in a rural and urban area. You can say the stability criteria is written here, A, B, C, D, E, F. Each word is having different stability, as we have discussed in the previous slide. And now, depending on the stability criteria, we may have different wind velocity profiles in case of rural area as well as in case of urban area. So in most of the cases, you see the wind velocity profile is higher in urban areas, in urban locations in comparison to the rural area. Okay, so this is the way how we can measure, or how we can define, or how we can study the wind velocity profile depending on the location. As we know that the wind velocity is dependent on the location, dependent on the topography. So rural area may have different wind velocity profile, urban area may be have different wind velocity profile, and it is written here. And these wind velocity profiles are based on the stability criteria, which is already discussed in the previous slide, which is considered as A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, this is a figure showing the rate of change of wind speed profile with the stability. Okay, so in the night time and daytime, when you see with the increasing wind velocity or with the increasing wind speed, there may be the high stability rate, means the wind velocity or wind speed increases with the increasing height above the ground, and it may have different profile in comparison in day and night time also. And but in both the conditions, either in daytime or night time, the wind speed per second is increasing with respect to the increasing height above the earth surface. And this is the figure showing the rate of change of wind speed profile with stability. And this was the photograph captured by the book for that is written by D.B. Turner in 1969. You also see the effects of the terrain roughness. As we have already discussed, wind profiling is dependent on the topography. Wind profiling is dependent on the location. So urban area, suburban area, and level country having different kinds of wind velocities, wind speed per meter per second. These are the effects of terrain surfaces on the wind speed profiling, and the values along the curve represents the percentage of the gradient wind value. Okay, so in urban area you can have the high wind velocity, and in case of level country, in case of local level, or in case of rural area, it will have the less amount of the this, you can say, the wind speed. Wind speed is dependent on the topography. Wind speed is dependent on the location. Different locations may have different wind speeds, and it may also be in direct relation with the height above the earth surface. Wind direction: does the wind blow from my house towards a small field lot or the other way? Okay, the wind direction is also important. It's having high and low pressure zone. It is formed from the large scale instabilities. If there are not stability in the atmosphere, so there may be the wind direction from the high pressure zone to low pressure zone. Okay, and it is dependent on the topography, as we have already discussed. So the air heats and cools differently on different surfaces, and that causes the air, and it may have different over the lake, or it may have different condition over the shore. Mountains block the low level wind and only allow the high level wind. So topography is having important role in the wind direction. In this figure, you see the comparison between the onshore sea bridge in the day and offshore land bridges at the night. This is the comparison of the wind direction. This is the comparison of wind speed in the daytime and nighttime condition. And you can see the onshore sea bridges in the day and offshore land bridges at the night. So this is all about the this graph, or this figure is showing how the wind profiling is dependent on the sea bridges in the daytime as well as the offshore land bridges at the night time. Predicting the wind direction, and depending on the available information, depending on the topography, depending on the information about the wind profiling, depending on the information about the wind speed, we can predict the wind direction. So for predicting the wind direction, we need to know the distribution of wind direction for estimating the pollution concentration. And by predicting the wind direction, we can also estimate the level of the concentration of different pollutants. But for this, we need to measure the speed and the direction. And wind rose is a term. This is the term which is defined as the average of the wind speed and the direction over the time, and it shows the frequency, speed, and the direction of the winds. The wind direction is direction from which the wind is coming. Different, you may feel the wind. You may feel the wind from different directions, and it depends on the distribution of the wind direction. And this kind of information can be very much useful for estimating the concentration of different pollutants over that area. Okay, so this is the this figure is showing the wind direction, and different colors are representing the wind speed. Okay, this is the graph how we can have the wind direction from north, east, south, and west direction. Some in this figure you see some of the wind direction is towards the west and the south direction, and speed can also be very important role. Okay, the blue color is showing the wind speed greater than 50 miles per hour, whereas most of the red and black color wind direction is having 1 to 5 miles per hour, and it's in the direction of west and the south. Length of each spoke around the circle is related to the frequency that the wind blows from a particular direction. Each concentric circle represents a different frequency, from 0 at the center to increasing the frequency. So this is the description of the figure. Whatever the figure is shown here, this slide is the description about the figure. Okay, and mixing height is another term. It is very important for the transportation of air pollutants. The vigorous mixing to a certain height and little effect above that. The rising air columns mix with the air vertically or horizontally, and this kind of rising air mixes and disperse the pollutants. Only mixes to the mixing height or above it. It may have different in the summer versus winter, a morning versus the evening. Means different kinds of wind may be mixed with each other at a specific height. Okay, and it may have different scenario in the summer season or in winter season. It may have different proportion of the mixing of different wind speeds in the morning or the evening time. And for inversion, mixing height can be close to the 0, and thermal buoyancy determines the depth of the convective mixing depth. Okay, mixing height usually corresponds to the top of the cloud. Okay, the mixing of the air, the mixing of the wind can happen over the top of the clouds. It may have different shapes but reach about same height. It's up to mixing height. Unstable air brings the moisture up from below to the from clouds. Above mixing height, there is no corresponding upward flow. There is a strong delineation at stratosphere and troposphere boundary. And the stratosphere is very stable, as we know that it's very stable layer, and it is against the mixing where the commercial airlines fly and air clear and the non-turbulent. It's very clear boundary between the stratosphere and troposphere. So this is the range of the mixing height in different seasons: morning season, summer morning, summer afternoon, winter morning, winter afternoon. The mixing height may vary from season to season. Like its height is around 600 to 1400 meter from the earth surface. It's in the condition of winter afternoon. In the summer morning, its range is between 200 to 1100 meter. So this is the typical values of the mixing height for the contiguous United States. Okay. Yeah, this is the figure showing during the day different clouds with a common top elevation, so the height of the mixing layer, and there may be the condition of the flat bottoms that shows the elevation at which the condensation begins. So different clouds have irregular tops and slides. Clouds may have different shapes and size, and this is the region behind the mixing height. This is the region behind the variation in the mixing height. The cloud tops are all at the close to the same elevation, which is the mixing height. Okay, so you can see the mixing height is above the top of the cloud, and mixing at which the moisture is rising, air begins to condense. This is the mechanism of the mixing height. The parcel or air parcel heated by the solar radiation, air parcel or air column that traps the solar radiation, that absorbs the solar radiation, and heated by the sunlight at the earth's surface. It rises until the temperature T dash is equal to T. T is the particle temperature and T is the atmospheric temperature. Okay, so the temperature of the atmospheric particles will reach to the temperature of the atmosphere, and this achieves the neutral equilibrium. So in that case, there will be no tendency for the further upward motion. Plumb rise, its influent plumes from the chimneys that stacks are the released into the atmosphere. Plumb means these are some of the heats that is coming from chimneys. Okay, and these are stacks are released in the atmosphere at elevated temperature. The rise of the plumb after release to the atmosphere is caused by the buoyancy and the vertical momentum of the influent. Okay, this is the example of the plumb. Okay, plumb means the heat that is releasing from a chimney will have a kind of circular shape that is known as plumb, and it is having different direction x, y, z, and it is also related to the height of the chimney, and depending on the wind speed, depending on the wind direction, the heat which is releasing from the chimney may move in any direction. Okay, so its direction is dependent on the wind speed as well as its height from the earth surface. So under windless condition, if there is no wind, so the plumb rises vertically, but more often it is bent as a result of the wind that is usually present. And this rise of the plumb adds to the stack and the additional height delta h. The height h of the virtual origin is obtained by adding the term delta h, and the plumb rise is the actual height of the stack, and the plumb central line height h is equal to hs plus delta h is the known as the effective stack height. Yeah, this is the way how the plumb or the heat or the energy releasing from the chimneys will move in the atmosphere, will transport from one place to another place. So this is the nomenclature: H, capital H, delta H, HS, TS, and TA. TA is the temperature of atmosphere, TS is the temperature of the heat which is releasing from the chimney, and delta H is the rise in the plumb that may be concentrated over the upper atmosphere. Okay, this is the center line. Above the center line, you consider the plumb rise, that is delta H, and capital H is the height of the chimney from the earth surface. Okay, so this is all about the system, how the heat that is releasing from the chimney, that chimney may be any industrial, it may be any industrial area. You have seen this kind of chimneys in industrial areas, in different factories and companies. Yeah, this is the major cause of the environmental pollution, the energy or different pollutants which is releasing from the chimneys, industrial chimneys or different other chimneys. These are the major causes of the atmospheric pollutants or atmospheric pollution. So plums may be of two types. It may be continuous plum or the instantaneous plum. The continuous plums is the release and the sampling time are long compared with the travel time, and puff diffusion or instantaneous plum is the release time or the sampling time is short when compared with the travel time. The plum rise may be of two types. Buoyancy effect, it is the rise due to the temperature difference between the stack plump and the ambient air. Momentum rise is the rise due to the exit velocity of the influents or emissions. Plum rise method. So for analyzing the plum rise, we may use different kinds of methods. It may be based on semi-empirical equations. We can also use different analytical solutions, and the numerical models are also available for studying the plum rise. Okay, this is the formula for buoyancy flux. Okay, by using this formula, we can easily calculate the buoyancy flux. Then momentum flux is having different formula. Fm, it is represented by the Fm, and the words are having different meaning. G is acceleration due to gravity. Vs is the stack exit velocity. D is the exit gas diameter. Okay, TS is the stack gas exit. Different words having different meaning, and on the basis of this formula, we can easily analyze the plum rise over the industrial area. That is the major source for the atmospheric pollution in that region. For analyzing this stability parameter, we can use the formula S is equal to G into delta theta upon delta Z upon TA. So where delta theta upon delta Z is equal to ambient potential temperature, and tau D is the constant. Its value is around minus 0.0098 kilo per meter. Okay. Analytical solution is having different, you can say, for analyzing the momentum of the plum, for analyzing the plum rise, we can also have the option for analytical solution. So this is the equations. These are the equations that can be used for the analytical solutions. It's you can say it's not very easy to calculate. It's having tedious job to perform the analytical solution to the plum rise. So this is just a formula, and you can just see how we can have different options, how we can have different solutions for the plum rise. Okay, don't need to go in the details about these equations. Just it's for your understanding how we can use different mathematical models, different mathematical formulae for the analysis of atmospheric pollutants that may be coming from the chimneys. Okay, these are some of other equations for unstable and the neutral condition. Okay, this condition is having, for stable condition, we may have different equation. Delta H is equal to 2.6 into F upon US into S to the power 1/3. Okay, and the distance to the final rise, how much distance will be gained by that plum, how much distance it will go, that can be calculated by this formula, which is given here. XF is equal to 2.0715 into US upon S to the power 0.5. We can also determine the type of plum depending on their momentum. That is based on the crossover temperature, and it is represented by DTC, and it is having different condition. If DT is equal to or greater than DTC, then it will be assumed as the momentum stable case. So the above calculations are valid for the case with the stack exit temperature and TS is greater than or equal to the ambient temperature. Okay, this is the plums under calm condition. For calm condition, if there is no wind speed, if there is very less wind speed, you can say, if it is having 1 meter per second, for having very less wind speed, there may be different conditions for the plum that may be calculated using the formula which is written here, and the plum rise for a jet is computed as follows. This is totally based on the mathematics. Okay, so no need to go in detail about these mathematical equations. You just see how we can apply different mathematical models for calculating the plumb rise, for calculating the uh, rise in the atmospheric pollutants coming from the chimneys, and we can also model the level of the concentration over that region. So there are another kind of solution to the plumb rise study that is based on the semi-empirical equations. Most of the plumb rise equations in this category are based on the following equations, which is written here. Okay, so you just see and don't need to remember these equations. You just see how we can have different equations, how we can have different mathematical models for analyzing analyzing that you can say for analyzing the plumb rise or analyzing the transportation of different air pollutants which is coming from the chimneys. Numerical models are different kinds of solution. These are the models that can be used to analyze, that can be used to study the plumb rise. It may have different conditions: conservation of the mass, conservation of the moisture. Means these numerical models includes the mass, the moisture, the heat, and the momentum of the plumb. All these four parameters, you can say the four properties of the plumbs can be used for any numerical solution, for any numerical models, which is mass of the plumb, moisture of the atmosphere, the energy or the heat, and the momentum. These four parameters are required for any numerical modeling of the plumb rise. Okay, so this is the conservation of horizontal momentum and conservation of the solid particles. The relationship between the plumb rise and the downwind distance x and time t is written here. dz upon dt is equal to w, and dx upon dt is equal to vx. And for hydrostatic environmental condition, there is no liquid or the solid particulate matter in the atmosphere, and it is assumed that it is made of developing the above equation. And for that we need to have solid body effects, that is included only in the horizontal direction, and there may be some downwash in the neglected during the computation. So thank you very much for today's lecture. Today we have discussed about different environmental conditions, different stability criteria for atmospheric stability, and we can also study how we can use different mathematical models. We can use different numerical models, semi-empirical equations for studying the plumb rise, for studying the concentration of atmospheric pollutants over the industrial region, because in the industrial areas most of the pollutants are coming from the chimneys. So we need to understand the amount of the heat that is coming from the chimney, and what is the role of wind direction, what is the role of the wind speed in the transportation of that heat which is coming from the chimneys. Thank you very much for today's class, and in the next class we will discuss the next lecture that may be about the climate change, which is a part of your second unit. Thank you very much.